That's right. Here's William, I think. Hey, William, I think, is that you?
Hey, hello. Yes, it is. I'm on the phone. I'll be back at my laptop in another 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, no worries. So we actually have a deck that we want to walk you through, so we'll wait till you get back. But I wanted to introduce to you Alan Schuster, who's joined us
Yes. Hi, Alan.
as an angel and then as a, yeah. So please do introduce yourself, Alan, and just
Yeah, well, it's great to meet you. I think you're based in Waterloo.
Yeah. In fact, I'm on the street in Waterloo.
Oh, very good. I'm 100 kilometers away from you today. I'm actually sitting at Pearson Airport, about to walk on a plane in about 40 minutes. So hopefully next time we could actually do this in person would be great. And it's been a long time since I've been out in Waterloo. My brother was a university student there. That goes back a long time since I've been
there. Yeah. The university really is one of the nexus of our industry, right? One of the universities.
Yeah, and your former chancellor there, David Johnson, was actually one of my professors at McGill University, and he's a family friend, and he's one of the great human beings I've ever met. Impressive fact. So let me just give you my 30 seconds. High level background. Actually was a lawyer once by training, and I like to say I did that for 28 minutes. But I actually did that for about 3 years. I did a lot of technology-based deals, but I was an entrepreneur at heart. And at the end of the day, to just be an agent versus being a principal and getting into it, I wanted to be a principal and run my own business. So that led me to with a whole great team of guys and gals, we built up one of the largest digital marketing shops in the world called Blast Radius. And in fact, we built for Rupert Duchesne way back when the first ever Aeroplanner website. And I remember our first kickoff meeting was 3 days after 9/11, and some of the team drove from Toronto to make it there, and we built aeroplan.com and helped them for a lot of years. So I know a little bit about the cognitive business and some of the history there. Was lucky enough.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. So it's for me, it's really cool to be back here. Exited that business with the sale to WPP, and since then I've done a bunch of investing in some great, tech businesses. Ran a couple of them myself, and it was in the context of me having a direct-to-consumer business that was really trying to figure out attribution, how to drive incremental revenues, leverage the best of what the creator economy has to offer. That a mutual friend of Ahmed and myself introduced me to ShopBack. And it was one of those things, you love the company so much, you say, hey, could I invest? And hey, how about I come join you guys? Because I think this is just, I've been searching for something like this in the MarTech, sort of consumer world for so long.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, very good to meet you here, particularly in the context of what we are going to discuss in another minute, that Amit perfectly set up with his business, even though it's a multitude of businesses rather.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Now, are you Canadian yourself?
Yeah. I'm proudly born and raised in Montreal. I live in Vancouver now. So that's where I'm heading on a plane back. I've just been here for a couple of days, meeting other businesses, meeting thought leaders in the space. So that's been yes, it's been great. So so Ahmed and I are on Zoom calls all day long, and hopefully, as COVID winds down, we'll be able to see each other in person more often.
Well, we will, and it seems to be winding down. I read that the Chinese are now going to have a turbo virus, so I'm not sure if I need to be more concerned or less. But anyhow, it sounds like progress.
I did not hear that. Great, that's great. Something new.
Something that does all 5 variants, keep you forever out of the hospital, and other great benefits that the Chinese, doubling up as a pharmaceutical company, advertise their products. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing to hear. But again, we all know where it comes from, and likely the Wuhan laboratory is also involved. Anyhow, not to belabor the point too much, but it's good to hear you. It's also good that we can tap into the marketing experience, because really that is the core, if I may say it so, I mean, outside of the technology, but
please,
as technologists, we realize that it's not anymore to just be smart about.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet dropped.
I think hopefully he's just transferring over to his desktop.
Yeah.
Good. So there's already
Nice.
connection. Yes.
For what it's worth, my note was just to you and Maury, so he knows what to say next time.
Yeah. No.
I didn't send that to.
He's clearly feeling, because you know what you mentioned on the phone, Alan. I don't speak to you as much. He clearly is feeling the pinch, rightfully so. Like they're not our partners anymore, right? So
Yeah, it's that simple. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the context for then that setting up follow-up is there, but I think he's feeling a little not loved, and that's fine. And I told him, I said, Maury, we're busy, we're bitching, we're like come on, buddy, I'm not there to, because he pings me almost every day. Come on.
Saying what?
I'm not. How's it going? What am I going to do? Call him every day? But honestly, that's I think what he would like. How's it?
I mean, let's bring him back into the loop. I mean, it's just we're happy to work with him. He wants to continue to, totally. It's just,
but at some point, those updates are not driving to anything. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not. So like I took him on, I gave him the update on Lard and told him about the call, and they've finally got their head of brand involved in those people. But he's like, I mean, just cut the check, right? If you really care, just cut a check, and I'll call you every day, right?
Anyway, I think that they'll, kick themselves for it later. I guess we'll see.
It's their choice, right?
But I think like I said, karmically, it all kind of works out in the end.
It always does, eh?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to show you. So you're on the chain with Co-Venture Cap. You saw that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, so we'll get that going.
And you're just in back to I haven't thought through anything I've seen. Like it's just, tomorrow, even when I get on the plane in half an hour, I'll be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. William's coming back on.
Yeah, perfect.
Hey, William, you're back. I think you're on mute.
Here we go.
Hey, good. All right.
Thanks
we
for
lost you mid-sentence, I think it was. You were saying something.
No, I don't recall.
No.
Here we are. Let's get going. Alan was good.
So are you able to see the screen now?
Yeah, it says shop type, Petsmart Cognitive, and it has my name even, so.
There you go. Well, I guess we've got the first slide right. Okay, so Alan, you want to just set some context?
Yeah. So what I did, as you were rightly pointing out, the technology is not, good enough and everything else, in the sense that by itself it doesn't do anything. So I went to the team with Alan, and he's done a ton of brands. I mean, he didn't mention, but like Disney, Starbucks. I mean, there's just a ton of experience there. So I said, what can we do?
Nintendo, Bacardi, tons.
Yeah. What can we do in a phased manner to take this technology and apply it to Petsmart, right? That's really what this is, and to do it together with you guys. So that's what I'll walk through this, Alan. If you don't mind, you can just talk through it. I mean, I'll just push through the slides.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I feel that's a great summary that I'm okay. So then we sat down with the team and said, listen, we got to walk before we run. Petsmart's a major organization. This is a significant relationship for Cognitive. We got to get it done right. Okay. Yeah. So let's start small. Let's really execute well and grow from there. Right. Prove success. It builds to success, and it leads to more opportunities, of course. Okay?
And for good understanding and calibration, Alan, Petsmart doesn't know anything of this just yet. So even a little bit before you start the program, we need to find something that's a proposition. I can find our way into Petsmart via our Salesforce and everything else. So just to give you the complete picture of what's the mountain we have to climb and the steps that we're going to take, right?
100%. So, and that's why in the first slide, this is a cognitive relationship. I come from this world, and I had to bring in e-commerce partners, all these things. You have to know who owns the client relationship, because they're the strategic endpoint, right? This has to fit in to your overall ongoing management of the loyalty program. And if we get it right, our payoff is, PetSmart's going to turn into other brands, and we're going to show you. So we're here to make you successful, which is going to make us successful. So we know the opportunity of 37 million loyalty program members. I might be off, on that number, but how do we turn those 37 people? It's funny, I was meeting with somebody on an unrelated topic yesterday who's a member of the PetSmart loyalty thing. I was just asking questions, So, and people are passionate about their pets. And when you're passionate about something, that leap from just a consumer to a referrer, to a co-seller, to a co-creation of value person is wonderful. It's a great place to be. So what we're really trying to do here is incrementally drive revenue and bottom line to PetSmart by engaging with this group of passionate people and turning them into co-sellers. And they do that in a very simple way. We have a really simple tool to enable them, to broadcast out through anything that they do, whether it's the local person who has a pet business and sends a newsletter out to their folks and will, take a ShopTite powered link about something that they see at PetSmart is great, all the way up to the person who has 5,000 followers and they just love their cat. And they love that. They love the collar that they got from PetSmart. Whatever it is that they're engaged with, let them do what they do as they're passionate pet owners and broadcast it out to the world, make some money for themselves, and ultimately drive more to the PetSmart bottom line.
Clearly.
Got it. Okay. So then we have to challenge ourselves about designing, what's a program that we could walk before we run. So here's a very simple sense of how we look at it. Just how we think about it. We have 37 million person database. Let's go, we assume around a 2% adoption rate, meaning so we invite people in, we explain to them the process. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do all of this in a second. This is at the highest level. 2% adoption rate. We want to ultimately get to 10,000 total users. So we think over a course of 180 days, seems like a long time, but we're going to learn so much. It's going to go by pretty quick. We could always tighten this out. So we'll scale it up over time, start with 500 users, see how it works. I'm a big believer when we do pilots like this, let's go geography bound, because there's something very interesting around PetSmart because of its online, offline world is people also go in store. I think we could actually measure and drive and understand what our in-store sales impact just beyond, tracking to an online purchase, okay? And an early KPI that we'd really like to drive to is this notion of for every user who onboards in this program, they're driving 1.5 additional transactions a month. So, when this pilot's over, we will have driven 15,000 new sales. Could we do better than this? Absolutely. I know it's a passionate community. And if we get the next steps right, the details, I think we could actually do better than that. That's sort of the baseline. Okay, so let's now just peel away into details of the program. Okay, so many phases of that. We got to get people excited. We got to manage them through the process. And you know what? We got to have a lot of fun at this, right? Because I think the making money as a co-seller is important, but I think everything around feeling part of a community, showing off and championing your passion around your pet is actually equally as important a motivator for this community. So we start with, and I'm a big believer, we start with the drip campaign, right? So multiple reaches out to, let's say, a core geographic, area, real exciting, really good content. Come and join the program. There's a little how-to video. What does it mean to be a co-seller? What does it mean for me? What can I do? And more importantly, just how easy it is, right? It's just as simple of going into the database, going to the product database, sharing what you do on a regular basis with your pet and just sharing it out to the world. So we know it's going to take more than one email, and we could do it in many ways. It could be a pop-up within the PetSmart loyalty program. So email doesn't necessarily have to be driven by email, but this notion of a real sophisticated drip campaign where we know probably going to have, I would say, somewhere between 4 and 6 reminders of this during the duration of the campaign. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, once we get them excited, again, I come back to it's got to be easy to use. It's got to be easy to use, and that's going to drive the number of transactions. We'll have some live tutorials. We could man this. We could train your team anyways, but I'm a real believer. Let people show up and see a community gathering, right? So you have a few of them a week, maybe only 10 or 20 or 50 of them, show up, but they start to feel like that. There's no dumb question. Some of these people are not professional, creators or professional influencers. So let them feel very engaged and excited about the program, and they'll feed off of it.
Yeah,
we're going to send, monthly or bi-weekly, updates. What's going on? Some tips and tricks. So we always constantly just make this life easier for them. Big believer also in gamification. So this notion of, weekly leaderboards, overall program leaderboards. People like to see themselves in a leaderboard contest. It's motivating, it's exciting, and it helps, again, breed a lot of community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a nutshell of just some of the steps that we do to get it going and on. We got lots of questions to drive from there. On the technology side, there's 2 things that we really got to decide, and this will impact a little bit the timeline of how quickly this launches. We're assuming that it's best to have really, a full integration of the authentication protocol. So meaning it's a single sign-on. We want as little incremental steps for your loyalty program, for the PetSmart loyalty program members to join the program. So if we can, we'll have to see what the system currently is, but if we can use existing logins, so it's just one seamless program, and then anybody who logs in and joins the program instantly gets a digital wallet. So they can instantly track what progress they're making against transactions and monies that they're earning by doing the program.
That's good, because then there is a natural bleed over blend, if you want, between what's previously known as a loyal member versus a co-seller. Both could be the same thing, and you start to ultimately tap into the entire program to do so. That's where you're going, right? So you say our future co-sellers must be loyal PetSmart members today, so that they are properly intellectually, if you like, impregnated by the PetSmart hype.
Yep.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. And we all know that every time you add an extra click, an extra step in anything, checkout, register, signing up for a newsletter, you lose people, right? So, now with that said, we don't know much about the background. We know nothing about what's existing there. But if we could make it seamless,
got it.
Okay. Goal number 2 is really have to understand the current commerce platform, right? We're an API plugin. We just got to understand. We have no idea systems, old, legacy, modern, really tricky, really simple. But the goal is to be able to, when we surface products to people and they see what commissions they can earn on them, we're seamlessly integrating with it. There is a way to run a parallel sort of mini commerce program with probably a less number of SKUs, but equally making a great experience. But if we could get to an integration with what you have now and not have to parallelize things again, more seamless, the better. Those are 2 questions we'd really love to delve into with the appropriate team members.
Yep.
Okay. So now here's some other just key questions that we got to decide. What commission amount can PetSmart, this is really a success-driven program from our end. We'll talk a little bit about fees. So how much are they willing to offer up to their community to earn them? Hey, the more the merrier, 30 to 40% would be great.
This would be variable margin off MSRP.
Yes, correct.
Actual better nowadays is not so much MSRP, but the equivalent, which is lowest price on the internet.
Correct. Amazon price, I call
it. Do you have any mechanism whereby you can scan lowest price on the internet, or will you rely on PetSmart for that?
We can. There are APIs that do it, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can pull that in if that's required.
So next thing, would really love, of course, to do a target geography, a place, and this is, this program and the team leaders know best. What's the best geography to go? Is it Dallas, Fort Worth? Is it Boston? Whatever it is, I really think having store associates come back and mention, wow, we're getting people from this program. People have mentioned XYZ. I think that will go through the executive leader team at PetSmart very smart, which is why I think concentrating it in a target geography could also be very helpful. Also would like to understand some digital penetration where folks are buying more online versus in store. Let's choose a really strategic geography and let's do it really, really well, okay?
Yeah.
Program sampling, another question. We could do a lot of stuff, new product launches in an interesting market. If it is a new organic cat food, let's say, can we ship out 10,000 samples? What does that mean? Because it's then we're enabling the content generation engine also more by giving them products to see. Now, people will also, if they get excited by this program, will know what products they like and their cat is using, and they're going to naturally go to those products. But if we can do a great sampling program, help in support of a product launch or two, let's try it. Okay. And then the last sort of big question we have is, can we get some prizes from PetSmart? Maybe, after every week, it's a $500 gift card for the top 10 people. There's something, that could go anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
I think gamification is smart and good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've thought this through. So, to understand what it's going to take, and we know we still got to sell this into there. But for when we do it, we figure, a few weeks to nail down that creative and strategy. What market do we want to target? Boom, 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 leaderboard prizes, what the email drip campaign is going to look like, preparing that video, all that stuff. It's a few weeks there. The technology integration, we're assuming, all depends on, again, what the back end looks like. This could be shorter, it could be longer, but this assumes a level of complexity on integration, not easy, simple one. So I think 3 to 4 weeks is pretty fair. We want to test the heck out of it. We're a big believer you do not go live, so we'll run through hundreds, thousands of test orders, test everything to make sure it works. So we figure from when we could get a green light, we're probably in market 8 to 9, 10 weeks later, which is, I think a realistic and doable time. Again, internal sign-off approval processes at PetSmart. I know these are complex; they can take longer, but
clearly, Alan, we are more in a hurry than PetSmart ever will be.
So one additional thing here is this is the integrated version, right? We can absolutely launch a standalone version with their branding and everything just accruing to them totally in the cloud. Remember that. So we could just virtualize it and then hand it over to them as well.
But I do like your notion, guys, whereby you say, let's branch out from the active part of the current loyalty system, technically with SSO and all that good stuff, but also let's start the communication, because at the end of the day, these will be PetSmart communications, right? Yes. So let's start them from what they deem to be loyal customers or some other form of profiling that's important. I think it's a very strong point to start from. And, at the end of the day, that's what we said last time, Amit, usually in this type of project, you got to make sure that you don't burn too much money while you're waiting for someone else, right? So that gets us into, let's get a couple of people to work, particularly on the creative and the management of it, and will be great. But you're not done. Let's carry on.
Last slide. This is exactly what you.
This is last slide.
With minus this.
So nothing great in this world comes for free, is what my mother always told me, right? We can go as far as, under your guise as a cognitive partner team, we're not looking for the glory here. We're looking for transactions that make us. So don't assume we're involved means we gotta own the client relation. I get it. You guys know that landscape, the organization. You're going to help us navigate and make this work, and we are going to follow all of your cues here. But we've got really good tech, creative, and strategy team. We come from this world. We understand it. We understand how the confluence of loyalty, influencer marketing can really work. We think program fees, a setup about $50,000. Until we get into the back end, we'll adjust that up or down depending on how difficult or complex it is. The program management fee would include a 3-person shop type team where we're constantly analyzing, upgrading the drip campaigns, updating the weekly updates, and constantly being agile and smart about making sure that the program is a huge success. And then our just standard model beyond just getting this program launched is really in the long term. We take just a cut of every transaction. So what we really like getting paid is on success, and if we're not successful, we don't get paid that much.
Right. No, that's all understandable. I think if I recall our conversation, Amit, is that what we need to do is be very bootstrap entrepreneurial, right? Because that's a recipe for success, as far as I have seen that many times. You mentioned Waterloo, and that's of course the Canadian hotbed of this type of things. So it's gonna take us some resources. What I said last time, I'm willing to hire this and that. You guys do the technology, and we're going to build it up, and then we're going to create value, and we attribute value as a very simplified model to get going here. A couple of questions on the deck here, right, on your presentation. I think what will be helpful is that I've looked up the previous deck, your other deck, Amit, which is titled Shop Type, Empowering Market Networks for Social Commerce. That has cognitive reference in it, I believe. Maybe not. Let's see better.
I think it might be the one which you asked me to kind of put together banking and the pets. Yeah.
And that was very good. What we are, to use the word, I think what we're missing, to use that expression, a little bit here still, is that if we walk into this proverbial room, I put all the 10 people in there, what we're missing a little bit is that sort of instant connection. And maybe what's a good idea, if there would be something like, I don't know what, some sort of notion of Tracy or Johnny or Chuck or Maria, who is that loyal member, right? And a little bit like, here is Tracy on her first day, a couple of screenshots from the mobile Petsmart logos, so that we have an exact idea what it is that we envision Tracy would do, right?
Yes.
I know I'm making it up, guys, but what?
Makes sense.
Right?
So how I think about that, just hold on.
Alan, your audio is a bit off. It's echoing a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
You might be boarding the plane now.
Yeah, well, I'm about to move location, so I just turns over perfect. But
sounds a little bit as if he's in the airport washroom, Amit.
I'm not sure, and I think he has two things.
I wouldn't put you guys through that at all.
You're on twice. So which one do you want me to take out?
Here,
I'm just dropping in now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Much better, thank you. It was just that you
Yeah. Okay. So Will, I totally hear you. What we then just need from you, if you're excited by this, is we could map out user journey, all those great things. And I totally agree with you. I wouldn't put this in front of anybody from the team there at PetSmart without having that. What we could really use, I think, your internal teams, and maybe from our next step, if we could get connected with that PetSmart internal team, help us understand profiles, all that stuff. We'll turn that into a use case and a user journey that'll be spot on what the PetSmart people know and understand, and we'll nail it. We just need some good data going in, and we'll get great creative and great execution coming out the backside.
So I got you, and I don't want to push through a whole lot of churn and work here. So maybe what we can do for now, Alan, is compromise on not a full graphic thing, but a very simple thing because here's the general idea. What it is internal to cognitive with our team and my colleagues here in executive management, who I want to all, you know, involve and make very enthusiastic for this, of course, right? Is that what it is, you know, in this day and age, and our business as cognitive, very much like yours is, and your previous businesses, Alan, we're in consumer marketing, whatever we call it. At the end of the day, there's only one thing, and that's the wallet of the consumer, to simplify it. So putting the beginning of a story and say, okay, well, here is Tracy. We all know what Petsmart is, so we don't need that. But here is Tracy, right? Obviously, Tracy has a cat or a dog or something like that. And Tracy is a loyal member of Petsmart. Good. Now we know who it is that we roughly talk about. And then we're going to say, what is Tracy now doing enthusiastically that she did not do before? That illustrates, and now we can all put ourselves in the mind of Tracy or the Tracys of the world, right? We can put ourselves in their position and say, well, that's interesting, because what you did, you were out there, you know, you were moving over to your, you know, person that lives across for you on the hall on the apartment building. You were having dinner with your friends or whatever you all did. You went to your parents or whatever. You went to see your cat in the what is it, in the old people's home, yeah, with your grandpa. Blah 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 blah. You did all these things. And you shared with them. You didn't sell, you didn't convince, you're not whatever, but you showed them to what they did not know before, that if only they have this, you know, reverse collar with the two black clips, you know, to hold their cat to the table, whatever leg, whatever it is, something like that is inspiring, right? Minus, of course, the stupid examples. But that is inspiring. Oh, right. So now we say, listen, our preliminary research shows a little bit. Preliminarily, this is no fact, but, you know, Tracy could do, in essence, on a square month, given what influencers and the small influencers, what all this world is all about a little bit, right? Pseudo content creators. They're not content creators, but they are somewhat creators, because they create this little mini movement about enthusiasm about, you know, Petsmart products or new products or whatever product. They create that so that they are a bit creators in that perspective. And I think the dynamics are the same, and the statistics would sort of work out the same onto this. Okay, so listen, you know, based on that sort of reference thing, what the heck do we know? But it wouldn't be too bad for Tracy to have, pick a number, you know, $600, you know, turnover a month, right? Of which she would easily cash 150. I'm making up the numbers. Now, what does 150 mean? Well, she has a disposable income after tax of maybe $2,100 or $1,800 or $25, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? For sure, she pays in medical insurance about 175. So look here, we covered her this, that. All, forgive me to be overly simplistic here, but it is those type of things that set the tone. So, okay, we got what it is. Then people come back and say, okay, now we got the questions like, how many Tracys are there? You know, what do they make? Then that's what I call a buying signal, right? Is it not? I think we can add that a little bit to this, however we do it. But schematically, the way you have it here, Alan, with the chess horse and the other symbols there, that's good enough just to get the story. We don't need to go to full creative, but just that aspect of it. If we then say, let's integrate that with the other deck, Amit, right? I'm just flipping.
So it's like almost like a cross between the two decks, right?
Right. So we start with Tracy, then what Tracy does. Then we say, well, how does it work? Well, here I provide you with a cognitive loyalty deck type thing, a couple of slides there. And then we go into what it all is and bake it up to the market. And ultimately, we end up with shop type and Awake or wherever it is that you want to end up Amit, in terms of getting that story, and said this is the partners that, you know, we as in cognitive will be working with, right? So I think that's important. I do see that in this slide you have, you know, that sort of thing. So that I think is something that would be very helpful on that.
Totally agree with you. I think it's a great approach. And you know what? I've done this a couple hundred times in my life, if not more. So I took everything you said resonated with me.
Yeah, no, I had that confidence, Alan, to say it that way, and I don't think it's too much work for a lot of value that we can do. One other question: if I go back, I now realize this is not in Alan's deck, but this is in your deck, Amit.
Yeah, I'm controlling it, but that's okay. I can go back.
It also could be in your deck. So there's one thing that we need to be careful about. If I go to what is slide 7 of the original shop type deck, and that says shop type before shop type and after shop type.
Right.
Yeah.
So it says internet monopolies and internet democracies.
Mm-hmm.
There is a notion where you say introduction influencers, nudge influencers, selling influencers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That has a little bit of a notion. I'm not even sure if you mean it, but it has a little bit of the notion that is basically the basis of all these. You know how these schemas are? Is when if I introduce 5 people who introduce 5 people who introduce 5 people, then I'm going to have the collections of revenue from my whole tree, right? You remember that?
Yes, MLM networks.
Yeah, MLM. Some people call it Ponzi style, right?
Right, pyramid schemes. Yeah.
That is something you'd absolutely need to avoid, right? Because
yes, we should clarify that this is the opposite of that. Yes.
I didn't say you meant that, but it
Yeah.
might have that interpretation a little bit. It was good enough for me to come up with me. So basically, then you will have a rule: there is no multiple layers. There's only one layer. We can have
flat structure.
And I think the way we couch it, it's more the power of the community of pet lovers, and yes, I think we could subtly tweak that the power of what it means is, but if it doesn't come across as MLM style.
As a multi-layer, whatever, and of multi-nesting, all of that type of thing. Okay, good. That was just a comment, because that would kill the deal if people, find us out, whatever they are with us or with Shopify. Good. Listen, it's very good. Very good. What do you want me to do, or shall we put this one round in place, Alan, for the Tracy slide to label it that way?
Yeah, we'll get a new deck.
From my perspective, I think why don't we take a first crack at it? Okay. Yeah. There's 2 ways to do it. One, we speak a little bit to the Petsmart team and just ask some questions to them, and then come back and do it. But listen, I get we're not going to do a full-blown creative or anything like that. So let us do a take it. And easy for us to go and do some interesting just screen slides, which is not a lot of work to show the journey and how it works. And we'll send it by you in a draft version and get some feedback. And let's make this an iterative process between our 2 organizations. And let us start working together on that sort of level and see where it goes from there.
And I'm happy to contribute as well and digging up slides and other stuff. But the power will be internal to our organization with the sales leadership first, right? To say, guys, this is not feasible, impossible, right? And if it has that same right between your eyes, as if we are talking to the Petsmart executives, then it works better with them. If not, for the fact that they know that they have something in their hands that they can turn around directly to those Petsmart executives. Obviously, we will be present ourselves, but you know what I'm saying? That gives them the comfort that they have the materials to turn around. The scare of a sales guy is always that I'm happy to find a story, but what the heck should I say, right? Good. And I noticed that on slide 14, Amit, you already have the graphics. I see a lot of people holding handhelds there on slide 15.
Yeah.
So that's a good picture for like the Tracy slide.
Right.
So you have the materials.
We need to tell the story and make it relatable. Totally understand. Yeah. And then reflect the context, of course.
And particularly in the world of consumer marketing. So brilliant.
Good.
All right, I will get to work with the SSO. I will introduce this to our chief product and our CTO. You met Bob because we had that session, right?
Yep, I did.
I'll go back to them. I'll share some of these materials. If you want to share what you have here, Alan, as a preliminary, then I can share that too.
100%. Yep, we'll get that over to you, and look forward to connecting. And hopefully, one of these times we can meet them in person, which is always nice to then over Zoom.
Yeah. Hey, we said 6 or 7, 5:45, so we're almost at the hour here, Amit. So that's great timing.
Thank you. No, not at all. Thank you so much for your time. Very excited to get this going and other possible deployments like this. So really excited.
Yeah, let's do one first.
Yeah, thank you so much, Willem, for your time. We look forward to working with you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.